It's time again. It's time to check in. See our legal team makes it possible. See our commitment. See our results. See our legal team, proud partner of Carolina Athletics. Hubert Davis is here with us so we can check in with him. Coach, I think at this point we can fairly say at some point the rest of this season there will be a close game because there's been a lot of them already. So when that inevitably happens, take us kind of inside some of those late game huddles. You've got couple minutes in there. Who's talking? How many scenarios are you giving your team? How does that all work?
I'm the only one talking. Nobody else is speaking, talking. It's just one voice, and I'm communicating with them two things. One, what we're going to do. Well, really three. What we're going to do right now, and what we're going to do if we get the ball, don't get the ball, make the shot, don't make the shot, just different types of scenarios. And then the last thing is I tell them how many timeouts that we have and my plan on using the timeouts. For example, after we score, I'm going to call a timeout. If we don't, I'm going to call a timeout as soon as we cross half court, just different stuff like that. And so, but the communication is straight from me. I'm talking to the 5 guys only that are on the floor and just making sure everybody's clear what we need to do to be able to execute.
How have you figured out what's too many things to give them, and does that change team by team?
That changes team by team. It does. I give them enough information to be able to execute out there on the floor. I don't try to give them too many things to think about. But we also talk about these things in practice so that, they can be instinctive as a player. One of the things that I'm going to start doing, and I'm taking this away from Coach Tom Izzo of Michigan State, is I'm starting to show them late game situations from other games and other teams so that we can sit down and talk about it and learn from it so that when we're in those situations, they can draw upon those experiences as well. And so it's a lot of preparation and practice and communication in the game to be able to execute down the stretch. But we don't have to practice it that much. I was telling Jones we've practiced it in games pretty much every game. So, but that's how it is in the huddle.
How did you – I don't know the right way to ask this. How did you kind of find your style in those situations? Because that's not something that you're going to do like when you're
in a mirror
right,
by
right,
yourself.
Right. Or when you're at ESPN or even as an assistant coach necessarily. But obviously you're also around some really great ones who did do it, Dean Smith and Pat Riley and others. So kind of how did you find your style of how you wanted to manage the huddle in those high-pressure situations?
Yeah, I really draw upon Coach Smith. Coach Smith was really calm. He often told jokes. He was clear and definitive, not only of what we needed to do, but what was going to happen. And it just gave you the confidence of, oh, okay, everything's taken care of. Oh, this is going to happen this way. And I draw upon that every time in the huddle, whether it's a late game situation or not, just the demeanor of Coach Smith in the huddle of giving confidence, but also, just the kind of like peace in those situations to be able to execute. And those are the things that I try to do and communicate in the huddle with the guys.
What's one that stands out to you? Because your first couple of years, you were not one of those 5 who was on the floor. But with Coach Smith, is there a game that stands out to you where you remember standing there and going, this guy might know what he's doing?
No, I always knew what he was doing. It was actually my sophomore year. It was in the NCAA tournament when we were playing Oklahoma in Austin, Texas, and the shot that Rick Fox made, the play was for me. And he told us exactly what to do, when to go, and he says, Hubert's going to catch the ball from Rick, and Hubert, you're going to score, and we're going to win the game. And then we got out of the huddle, and I was like, man, does he really think he should throw the ball to me? And he sensed something. I don't know, and we got out of the huddle, and he said, guys, come back. Hubert, you throw the pass. Rick, you take the shot. And he switched it. And I was so thankful because I wasn't there yet as a sophomore, being confident and being in that situation. I could easily throw the ball to Rick and threw the ball to Rick, and he was able to score. But just even in the huddle, you said, this is exactly where we wanted to be. Isn't this fun? And if he was calm and confident, it made us feel calm and confident, and that's what I try to do in the huddle myself.
We talked on the radio show this week some about message to the team in the post-game locker room. And if folks didn't hear that, I would really encourage them to take a listen, because Coach gave some really good stuff about post-game after BC and some things that happened. I lead all of that to say you are intense during the game. Like there is game day Hubert Davis and there is other days Hubert Davis.
Oh, yeah.
You normally take a couple of moments after the game to yourself to just chill out for a second, even before you talk to the team.
I do.
What is happening in those moments with you? What are you doing in those moments to try and are you like coming back to less intense Hubert Davis? Like what is happening in those couple of minutes?
It's funny. People, you're in this job and you're around people all the time. People think that I'm probably an extrovert and I draw fuel on being around people. I'm the exact opposite. It drains me. I get fueled by just being by myself, collecting my thoughts, being around my family. So right after a game, my wife waits for me and we're in the coach's locker room, and it just gives me 5 minutes just to catch my breath and just kind of wind down a little bit. And I need that time. Throughout the game, there's so much going on. It's not just the game. It's the shoot around. It's the talk before the game. It's the game. It's the media. Then after the game, looking at film for the next game and the scout. So it's not just the 2 hours you show up to the gym. And I use that time just to kind of get away and just catch my breath. And one of the things I always say is look for breathing room for my soul, and that 5 minutes after a game is where I get that breathing room.
So as the head coach at North Carolina, you obviously are in demand, right? Like a lot of people do want your time and do want an audience with you for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
How do you not let that wear you down or affect what you're doing? How do you try and not let that take you too far down?
It's hard for me. I'll be honest with you. It really is. I get fuel, as I said before, by quietness. And this is a job where there's noise everywhere. And in order to get that, it is you have to be intentional. I turn my phone over, close the door to my office, go home, turn off the TV, just spend time with my wife and my kids, look at something on TV other than basketball. I have to find times just to get a break. And sometimes it's harder than others, and it's something that you just have to manage and you have to realize what gives you fuel to be able to give everything that you have out there on the floor. It doesn't matter if I don't get that time. When the game starts, I'm ready to go. I love.
That's the other fuel is the game.
It is. It doesn't matter how much lack of sleep or whatever. When I get out there for practice and when I get out there in the game, I am beyond full. I'm ready to go.
This is kind of related to that, I think, but also something you said on the radio show and something you've said since the very first, your introductory press conference, that you see this job as being a mission field.
It is.
And you're here to serve.
It is.
The way it was demonstrated to you to serve was by Coach Smith, which, as you said last night, was in a very different era.
Yeah.
Have you had to change, or have you had to think about changing the way you're serving this current era in a different way than maybe even you thought on that first day in the Smith Center 4 years ago?
Yeah, I never thought it would look like this 4 years ago. But no, I don't think the serving has changed at all. I know that I'm here for a reason, and those reasons are good. And I know that Jesus has placed me here for a specific assignment. And one of those assignments is to serve these kids and to help them on the court, off the court, in the classroom. And I find great joy and privilege of being in this position to be able to do it. And I love it. That's what gives me fuel, is to be able to give back to, because you just think about what Coach Smith and Coach Guthridge gave to me. I mean, it's not just playing time, what Coach Williams gave to me, in terms of out of the blue asking me to be a part of his staff, and now I'm the head coach. Like, it's about giving back. We talked about on the radio show, this is a we program. It is not about the me. That's the fight, is to keep we here as opposed to me. When you have so many things pulling at the me to try to keep this team, this program, this place. Carolina has been a we university. And that's the fight. That's the battle that goes on every day, is to keep it that way. Because that's what it's made us not only great, but better than any other university in the country.
Let me just tell folks, if they don't watch and listen to Checking In, they're missing out.
They're missing out. They're
This is
missing
where you
out.
get the best stuff. This is where you get the best stuff.
Yeah.
So, Coach, thank you for your time as always.
This seat is a little low.
Yeah. If anybody could have
Why you laughing? Why you laughing? The inside jokes.
We will be back next week for more Checking In. Quick reminder, Carolina Pitt, Tuesday night, 9 o'clock. We're on the air at 8 p.m. for that. But for now, we'll say goodbye. It's another edition of Checking In with Coach Davis, presented by our good friends at CR Legal Team.